Excellent.
Any public appearances?
Nope.
Moving on to approval of minutes. Need a motion to approve the minutes and a second before we can have any discussion.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
I will second.
Any discussion? I will mention then just one thing. I thought that it might be nice to do some paragraphs for people who are reading it online. For instance, the draft 2022 budget. I know we don't want to separate it with a space, but that one paragraph is really, really long and tackles a number of issues. So I don't know what your thought is on that.
We can certainly look at that and break it up a little bit.
Might help.
Or maybe
I don't-
we leave that one, but we are mindful of that going forward.
Okay, I mean, I don't even know how many people read our agendas after the fact, but it was long and cumbersome.
Yeah. Let's not edit this version, but let's just think about that going forward. How's that?
Sounds good.
Okay.
There's no further discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Treasurer's report.
All
When do you
right.
want to do the financial register first?
Yes. All right, so we've got a pretty standard month. We've got a 3 paycheck pay period month. So all of those costs are a little bit higher, but that all shakes out by the end of the year. The one account that I wanted to draw your attention to is 355. We had some really big purchases there, all expected, but they don't usually hit at the same time. So computer replacements from South Central came in and were installed. So that's all been very good. And then the meeting room tables were delivered as well. And this was actually $17,000, but we had a very generous donation of $10,000. So that came out of a different account. But so the total for that account this month is pretty high, but to be expected. There's also one that is very low, that's 387. And that is due to the turnover in the administrative assistant position. So Maggie's the one that pays the vendors for books that come in. And when we had the vacancy, we just sort of pushed that off. I pushed that off a lot. So we'll see that bounce back and we'll be fine by the end of the year. But I just wanted to kind of note that because that's pretty low. And I think that's all for the register.
Wendy, do we approve the register and the overview together or?
Yeah, let's do them together. So I'll just move on to the overview. So again, those 2 accounts I had noted. There's 2 other numbers that I want to point out to you now for later in the meeting. They're going to be helpful. That is in 355 also in the register. You'll see our GFC copier lease. So that comes in at $1,814. That's a monthly contract amount. And that's a 5-year contract that we have on those. I would also draw your attention on the overview to the copy fees revenue in the blue box at the bottom, where we have show $131 of revenue from copies so far this year. Granted, we haven't been open this whole year, so we've been open from mid-May, but a very low number considering how much we're paying for Copier Contracts. That's going to come up later when we talk about the print management system. So just wanted to draw your attention to that now. Otherwise, everything looks great. Does anybody have questions? Anything jump out at anybody?
If not, can I have a motion to approve the financial register and the financial overview, please?
So motioned.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion to approve the financial register and the May overview passes. Moving on to new business, the draft 2022 budget.
Okay, so you saw this last month. It has changed a little bit since then. I'll say the first really positive change is that we increased the property tax levy So it's going to be an increase. We think, this is not final yet, but an increase of 4.494%. So we have to keep it under 4.5% to stay under the expenditure restraint limit. And this is really based on the CPI numbers that don't come out until the middle of August. So we are not completely final here, but this is Misty's best guess. I will also move down to under revenue, assigned fund balance applied. So I had talked last month about not including that this year. But then the print management system came up and we are using the money this year. And so I thought it would probably be good of us, we have it to go ahead and budget it in case a project presents itself next year in the strategic planning process, like that one did. So I just went ahead and put that back in. The sections that are in blue are things that are still not settled yet. So insurance costs have not come in final yet. So we may need to make some changes based on that. The orange section, so that's 23,147 is our surplus. You can actually add the $10,000 of assigned fund balance to that because it doesn't calculate it in the revenue section. So we are currently showing a surplus of $33,147, which is almost exactly what we need to make the change with the personnel, to make the 2 custodians into 1 custodian. So right now things look really good. You know, they're going to change a little bit as we get final numbers in. Hopefully nothing is too drastic. Hopefully the levy stays where it is in insurance. You know, we've already projected increases in insurance, so hopefully it doesn't come in a whole lot higher than we expected. But right now things look really good. And we just have to kind of sit tight and wait for final numbers. I presented this to Misty, the finance director, and Chad, the new city administrator, on Tuesday, and then today with those 2 and the mayor. So this will hopefully go into the mayor's proposed budget as is, with a couple of tweaks when we get final numbers, and we should be all set. It will go to council, I believe, in mid-October. So that's kind of where we're sitting with that. Just a heads up that if everything works out the way we think it's going to, and we do end up making the change with the custodian from part-time to full-time, we do have enough funds because of the vacancy in the outreach librarian position. We do have the funds to make the change this year instead of waiting until January. So we'll have to take that, I think, as a resolution to the council. Misty and I have already kind of looked at that, and I think we could probably get it done by November 1st. So that will be my recommendation if nothing drastically changes between now and then. Okay, any questions? All right, then we should approve this.
Can I have a motion to approve, please?
So motion?
Need a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Anne. All in favor of approving of the draft of the 2022 budget, say aye.
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 Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Wendy, new staffing proposal?
All right, so you saw this last month as well. There are some updated numbers in here. So we, if you look at the personnel cost, total cost, we're looking at $33,202. And that is almost exactly what we have as a surplus. So I think still very hopeful that this is going to work out the way we want it to. I still have a couple of places that I could make changes if we need to in the larger budget, but hoping that that is not necessary. Any questions about that?
Do we need to approve that?
Yes, let's go ahead and do that because we've got new numbers.
Then may I have a motion, please, to approve the new staffing proposal?
So motion?
And I'll second.
Thank you, Anne and Ben. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Print management system.
Okay, so this is kind of a new project that has come up since we have reopened the library. So as we saw earlier, we have a copier contract with Gordon Flesh for 4 copiers in the library, 2 of them for public and 2 of them for staff. And we pay $1,800 a month for that. We renegotiated the contract in March of 2020. So they were installed 2 weeks before we closed the building. And at that time, we increased the amount of copies that we were allocated because we had been coming in with additional charges. If we go over the allocated copies, we get charged for an overage charge. And we were seeing that almost every month before we closed. So when we had renegotiated, we increased that. We are already seeing overage charges again. And as you saw with the revenue coming in for copies, we're at like $132 for this year. So we've been on the honor system the whole time we've been open, which is real trusting and probably a mistake. We looked at this kind of software hardware situation when we first opened. And it mostly ran on like little plastic debit cards, like generic debit cards. And it was not a great system. They have since improved it a lot. And most of the libraries in South Central are using something like this. Well, actually they're using this. This is the only approved vendor for this. So essentially what it is it's a coin tower that we attach to each of the copiers. It accepts dollar bills, coins, and it will accept credit cards. So you would be logged into one of our computers, you would send your print job, you would go and pay for the print job before it spit it out for you. So I think it's the only financially responsible thing to do right now, since we're seeing a lot of people are copying a high volume of things and just kind of walking out with them. So I think this is going to just kind of true up what we're spending and what people are using. The copier contract does thankfully include toner, but it doesn't include paper. So we've got that added cost as well. We're also looking at what we're charging. So we've been charging the whole time we've been open 10 cents for black and white and 25 cents for color. Almost every library in the county is charging 50 cents for color. And I think Kinko's is at 60 or 75 cents. So I think we need to look at adjusting that as well. It's an investment for sure, but it is mostly hardware that we will be able to keep, I think, indefinitely. So it's $9,999 to keep it under the CIP limit. And that gives us equipment for both the upstairs and the downstairs copier. The fees that will be included with this, so they're not part of this purchase, but will be ongoing. So it's $895 per unit for the credit card machines, and then a service contract of around $1,200. And I've already budgeted for that in the next year's budget. There is a convenience fee if you want to use a credit card. It's 5.95%, I believe, and that will be passed on to the patron. I've met with city finance staff about this, and that's how they handle the convenience fee if you use a credit card over at City Hall. So we felt like that was the right thing to do, that wasn't something the library should have to absorb. I have also looked at the contract that we will need to sign with the credit card vendor. I had the city attorney look over that. She made some changes and they were approved by the company. So I think we're all set to go on that end. So what we're asking you, and Ben has already approved this. What we're asking today is just to move the money from one account to the other. So we had budgeted for this $10,000 for a strategic planning project and in account 340, but this is really an equipment purchase. So we need to pay for it out of 355. So that is what we are asking for tonight, is if we can just move that $10,000 from one account to the other to go ahead and place the order.
Cindy, I have a question. Do you know
Yeah.
how long this hardware that we're purchasing is supposed to last?
I think it could last probably 10 years or more. Like it's not real high tech. I think that maybe the credit card machine would be updated if necessary, but I think the coin tower, I mean, I worked with those at my last library and they almost never had problems with them.
Great.
The other benefit of this, 2 other things I want to mention is Park Bank, that used to be across the street from us, has closed that location. We used to go there every 2 days for change for people that were paying, like I made 3 copies and here's a $20 bill. So I think using the coin towers is going to be a better choice for us because we can't run across the street anymore. We are going to increase the amount of change that we're keeping on hand, but that would still be a benefit. The other thing is that this adds wireless printing, which we have not had yet. So if you come into the library with your own laptop and you want to print something, you currently can't do that. You have to log on to one of ours. And I think patrons are going to love that. We get questions for that all the time. So I think that's a huge benefit that I wasn't even expecting when we started looking into this.
Great.
Yeah.
If
Any
there's
other
no
questions?
May I have a motion to approve the print management system, moving it over to a different account?
I'll make a
Um,
motion to so move.
I can second.
Thank you, Brock. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. President's report. The only thing I have for you is to say that Steve Arnold will be back next month. And if you have not yet completed Wendy's evaluation on Google, please get to that. And please remember that Wendy did mention last month that there was a new category about diversity. And she did discuss last month about the Ripple. And there's something else which I forget right now, but if you want to refresh your memory, if you haven't filled out that evaluation yet, you can go back into the minutes and see what that was about. And I have nothing else. So library director report.
All right, so as I'm sure you all know, there is a new mask mandate that was put out by Dane County, Public Health of Madison and Dane County. So we will start enforcing that on Friday. We're not open to the public tomorrow, so it will be Friday morning. So we will be posting signs, we will be handing out free masks, and we will be asking people that refuse to mask to leave the building. I think it's the right thing to do. Staff really never stopped masking. I think we have people that are still double masking because of the Delta variant. So I think everybody here is being very careful. I would say probably 80–85% of patrons have been masking without the requirement. So I don't expect a lot of problems. Having said that, none of us really signed up to work in the library to be the mask police. So I don't think anybody's really looking forward to the enforcement part of it, but we will do it. We are returning to regular hours after Labor Day. So that means we will be open Monday through Thursday, 9 to 9, Friday, Saturday, 10 to 6, and Sundays, 1 to 5. Curbside numbers have really kept going down. I thought we might see an increase with Delta, and we really haven't. So I think that it's time to be open our regular hours. So that'll happen after Labor Day. We have already opened reservations for the meeting rooms. I think that feels a little bit dicey with Delta now, but we've got people that have made reservations. We will enforce masks. I feel like we're gonna have to try it and see how it's going. Programming, we are kind of still up in the air with, so we had planned to do some outdoor story times. Did someone have a question? Okay. We had planned to do outdoor story times, and I think with what we're seeing with the Delta variant and kids, probably not a great idea. So I think we're probably going to hold off on that and stick with virtual programs and take home. That's all been very popular. Adult programs, where we sit right now, the adult staff really wanted to get their book clubs back in person. I think because patrons were asking for it. As things have changed over the last month, I've had Tegan go back and talk to each of them to see if they are still comfortable doing that in person. We will require masks. I've got one person I think that is still willing to do it. I haven't heard from everybody yet, but is going to move into the meeting room. So at least it's a bigger space instead of the conference room. So we're still kind of ironing out details on programming. Yeah, but I think,
Wendy,
yeah.
are they offering a hybrid where some people could be at home for those book clubs?
We are, yeah. So IT has gotten a new technology called the OWL that allows for both like people on kind of like on Zoom, but also in person. So we are testing that next week to see how that works. So hopefully, yes, we'll see how that goes. Yeah, so fingers crossed that we could.
I guess my question is, kids are going back to school in person in a couple of weeks. Is there any science behind being opposed to outdoors activities for kiddos?
I think with the number of hospitalizations that people are seeing and the number of schools that have already gone back in other areas that are closing, we've got a lot of people with kiddos in preschools that are seeing classrooms shut down kind of every day. So I'll say I'm honestly also worried about having staff here to do them. We've got a lot of people with kids that could at any time, I think, be at home quarantining because they had a kid exposed at school or at preschool.
Wendy, it's Jay. It's
Uh-huh.
Jay Allen. I have a question for you.
Uh-huh.
Sorry, I was a little late, by the way. Regarding the meeting rooms, have we considered reducing the allowable number of people in a meeting room?
So the conference room will only allow for reservations of 20 people. And I think the meeting room right now is set at 50. I think we would stick with that unless we hear something from public health about limiting group sizes. Okay, the other thing I wanted to mention is that they are taking a resolution to council to extend the emergency order for meetings. So it looks like we should be able to resume the library board meetings on Zoom for the rest of the year, if that's what we're interested in doing. I kind of thought it would be. Is that okay with everyone? Okay, excellent. All right, so that's all I have for my report.
Okay. Committee reports, strategic planning.
No, just a note that the print management is being fit as part of the strategic plan. We just added that. That's all for that.
Facilities.
Just a note that we are continuing with LED replacement. So Hill Electric was here again today, the last couple of days. So we're working on the fiction area downstairs on the first floor by the circulation desk. And then they've already done the meeting room, and we're working on the conference room and the administration area. I'm hoping that we can do one more phase this year and get maybe nonfiction done. We'll have to see space-wise what we can afford to do. We're gonna, I think, maybe have $5,000 left. So we'll see what we can get done by the end of the year. But that's going really well. I'm very happy with how things are going.
And personnel.
We are real short-staffed in circulation. As I think I mentioned last month, we have hired 3 new shelvers and had someone move into a shelver position. So we're starting to look okay there. We are down 2 library assistants for the front desk, which is we're definitely feeling right now. We got 77 applicants, super happy about that. It was a really good candidate pool. And we will be doing interviews on August 30th. So hopefully by the end of September, have people in place and starting to get comfortable with the job. In the meantime, I think we're gonna have to ask for help from the other departments to just keep things moving. But yeah, things are moving well there.
Okay. Any announcements? Except the next library board meeting is September 15th at 5:30.
No.
Can I have a motion to adjourn?
So
So
motion.
moved.
Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Excellent. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Stay safe.